Greetings, everyone. My name is Romona Banks. Thank you so much for taking the time to view or listen to my presentation titled, Are You Stirring Your Related Occasional Unique Experiences, ROUX, a discovery session for the 2018 Ashford TLC. It is greatly appreciated. I enjoy researching instructional methods that can be integrated in both the face-to-face and online course environments. This presentation is a continuation of my presentation from the last year's 2017 TLC. I will share a few additional apps or software that can be implemented to engage our students. I will discuss 4 theories that I believe are the foundation for better engaging our students in the online educational environment. I will share 5 apps or software that I believe can be useful in better engaging our students in the online educational environment. And I will provide demonstrations on how those apps or software can be included in the online educational environment. I am relating cooking to educational instruction in this presentation. I consider cooking and teaching to be parallel. When you are cooking a dish, there are certain ingredients and instructions that you must have and follow in order to achieve the outcome you seek, a delightful dish. Similar to that of a well-accomplished student that has an understanding of the instructions or information or content that they received within the online learning environment. Instructors should have all of the proper ingredients and know how to properly use all or most of those ingredients to properly engage their students in order to yield the outcome that they and their students seek. I believe that making ROUX presents the same standard. Before we go further into the presentation, let me first explain what ROUX is. ROUX is flour and fat cooked together and used to thicken sauces. It provides the base for a dish, and other ingredients are added after the roux is complete. Ensuring that the roux is properly made determines the outcome of the dish, in most cases gumbo. Therefore, a good roux can determine the success of the dish, much like our engagement with our students. There are 2 ways you can create roux. A lesser, less active engagement of making roux is when you put all of the necessary ingredients in a Dutch oven, a pot, and sit it in the oven for a little while before checking on it. A higher, more active engagement of making roux is when you put all of the necessary ingredients in the Dutch oven and stir them until they turn a beautiful copper color. Both methods for making roux yield the same results in the end. Both methods work for an effective and positive outcome. However, the process in making the roux should depend on certain external circumstances. For example, your understanding of making the roux one way or the other, and how long it takes to make the roux. It is important for the cook or the instructor to assess the situation and then determine the method that works best for a successful outcome. High-performing or engaging students can succeed with the modern method, roux and oven. They may not always require an instructor or facilitator to be hands-on. However, our low-performing students or students that will seek more guidance may require a continuous or traditional stirring of engagement from the instructor. The acronym ROUX stands for Related Occasional Unique Experiences. The following slides share theories, apps or software, and demonstrations that can be used to apply related lectures or discussions or topics or apps that add to what is being studied in the course. Occasional content that is shared once or once every other week within the online environment as needed. Unique apps or software that demonstrate application of content or theory or concept that is being discussed within the online environment. And each app or software will demonstrate an experience that can be implemented into the online course environment. There are 4 theories or models that I believe relate to interactions with our students in the online educational environment. They are as follows: social learning theory, technology acceptance model, the 5-stage model, and community of inquiry, COI, with a specific 4th component that will be the framework for this presentation, agency presence. In social learning theory, Albert Bandura agrees with the behaviorist learning theories of classical conditioning and operant conditioning. However, he adds two important ideas: mediating processes and observational learning. Mediating processes occur between stimuli, and observational learning is responses and behavior learned from the environment. There are four mediational processes proposed by Bandura. Attention, the extent to which we are exposed or notice the behavior. For a behavior to be imitated, it has to grab our attention. Retention, how well the behavior is remembered. Reproduction, this is the ability to perform the behavior that the model has just demonstrated. Motivation, the will to perform the behavior. The rewards and punishment that follow a behavior will be considered by the observer. If the perceived rewards outweigh the perceived costs, if there are any, and the behavior will be more likely to be imitated by the observer. The technology acceptance model is an information systems theory that models how users come to accept and use a technology. The model suggests that when users are presented with a new technology, a number of factors influence their decision about how and when they will use it. Notably, perceived usefulness. This was defined by Fred Davis as the degree to which a person believes that using a particular system would enhance his or her job performance. Perceived ease of use. Davis defined this as the degree to which a person believes that using a particular system would be free from effort. For online learning to be successful and happy, participants need to be supported through a structured developmental process. The five-stage model provides a framework or scaffold for a structured and paced program of activities. The five-stage model offers essential support and development to participants at each stage as they build expertise in learning online. The participant's perspective of the five-stage model is as follows. The first step is access and motivation. When the learner is transitioning into their cloud-based environment where their facilitator or instructor is ready to welcome them. The second step is online socialization. When the learner is advancing into their network and greeting the concept of connectedness where their facilitator or instructor acts as a host to guide them through their activities. The third step is information exchange. When the learner achieves cooperative tasks after engaging in information exchange with their peers and the facilitator or instructor, assist the learner in gaining confidence in completing their assignments, engaging peers in conversation, and also learns good time management skills. Step 4 is knowledge construction. When the learner is increasingly able to take control of their learning and the facilitator or instructor integrates different elements in the learning experience to assist the learner with completing assignments or projects. And the fifth step is development. When the learner is confident as an online learner and able to build on the ideas learned in the course in order to apply them to their own workplace. Anderson has not validated this model empirically, but it would likely include and consolidate many of the elements identified by Lamb in her autonomous presence and Shea in his learning presence. And hopefully this addition would bring the COI model more in line with the emergent and network resource ideas of modern connectiveness theories. Anderson stated that he wanted to provide evidence for Randy Garrison's claim that this was a new mode of teaching and learning, that was education at a distance, not high-tech, traditional cognitive behavior style distance education. Thus, we focused on a key component of constructivism learning, social presence. He also picked up on Randy's earlier work based on Eames, Paul, and Littman's work on critical thinking to devise the phases of cognitive presence. Finally, though Walter Archer, Randy, and Anderson were all active in informal adult learning, they realized that the activity they were focusing on took place in institutional contexts, with students studying in degree programs. Thus, he wanted a focus on the critical design, facilitation, and subject matter expertise components of teaching presence. So Anderson's own suggestion in the search for the missing element in the COI model is to add agency presence to the COI trinity. Agency presence is provided in both roux procedures. The ingredients or elements that can be used for an oven roux are those that I have mentioned in previous presentations. I suggested that we should share a welcome message with our students the very first week of the course via a personal email to our students and a weekly group announcement. Share a quote or quotes via a group email and provide ongoing advising messages, especially to students that may be at risk of falling behind or failing the chorus. The ingredients or elements that can be used for a stovetop roux in order to better engage our students or keep them motivated or active within the chorus are integrating a poll everywhere survey during the first and second week of the chorus, including a Kahoot activity during the weeks of a quiz or review. Doing so may ease test anxiety in our students, including a Padlet activity during one or two of the weekly discussions or a written assignment. Doing so can assist our students in brainstorming their topic, integrating storytelling by offering a Zoom conference with our students in order to better explain a concept or theory, and integrating Second Life to build on connectedness within the online educational environment. In addition to Zoom conferences, this can also be another means of connecting with our students virtually. I will now demonstrate how we can stir up related, occasional, unique experiences in our online courses. We will revisit the use of the welcome message and weekly quotes, View a demonstration of how to insert poll everywhere, Kahoot, and Padlet in Canvas. Use Zoom for storytelling or lecture, and share an example of a virtual collaboration space within Second Life. We will open the Zoom session with a musical selection and also briefly discuss gender bias. I am a novice when it comes to Second Life. However, I appreciate the potential that this software exposes in its collaboration or student engagement efforts. To save time, we will teleport directly to the EdTech Island. However, if you are interested in this software as an element of collaboration or virtual ongoing course discussion, I would suggest that you view the Second Life Wiki page. A link is provided on my reference list. Additionally, Second Life does a wonderful job of providing a brief tutorial video when you register for a free account. And we are in the chorus that I have created for this year's TLC. Last year's chorus is here, the Social Psychology Demo, and right under it is the Social Psychology Demo 1 chorus, of which we will go in here and we will briefly view the announcements that are already created for the chorus. And as we're all aware, we're usually required to provide an instructor profile, a week one guidance, a welcome message, and also a week one announcement, of which all of those are posted here. I usually post those the very first week of the chorus, the very first day of the chorus, if not earlier. I like to provide a welcoming course environment for my students, and posting those requirements as early as possible in the course, I believe, presents that to our students. In the middle of the week, what I do is I share a quote or quotes with my students. And normally the quotes are emailed to my students. However, because there are no active students in this demo course, I'm showing the quotes in the announcement section. However, you could email the quotes or you could provide it as an announcement. And on Fridays, if the course pertains to it, I actually provide a movie of the week on Friday. Normally, I post movies of the week in my social psychology and applied social psychology courses. And this is just to help my students to better understand concepts or theories that we may be discussing. By providing the instructor profile, the week one announcement and guidance, and also a welcome message in the course when it first begins or that very first day of the course, you're opening that course and inviting that course to the students, which is starting to build relationship, I believe, in some way. You continue your contact or relationship building with your students by actively engaging them. And I believe that engaging them at least 3 additional times out of the week outside of your discussion posts and also grading. We could also provide a quote one day of the week, of which the day I prefer is Wednesday. And then you could add any supplemental type of activity that you wanted to on a Thursday or a Friday. We will now go to discussion. So if your course doesn't really allow for movies, or you don't have a list of movies to share, activities that you could integrate in the chorus room could be Poll Everywhere, Kahoot, Padlet, and also Zoom, and if you like, Second Life. So what I have done to save time is I've already included those activities in the Chorus Cafe. And actually, because this is a general Canvas software, it's not set up by any institution. It's just a general account for Canvas. I created my own Chorus Cafe here of where I list that all of these activities that we will be discussing during the chorus is simply engagement activities, and there will be no grade provided for them, just to let the students know right away that it's just participation, and these activities are really used in order to engage them and also extend their knowledge on theories or concepts that we may be studying in the course. So the very first message that I have here, or activity that I have here, is for Poll Everywhere, of which the survey has already been created, but I will be going back in to show you how I have created each survey and also where I get the link to actually provide in the chorus. But here I've already created 3 announcements or 3 discussions, and my students can go in and actually view those. And you can't see the very last one because it's cut off, but I will hit reply and then we can in fact see that one, and that's for Padlet. And we're provided links to put in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go over, let me cancel that. We're going to go over to Poll Everywhere. And I'm going to click on my polls because I already have some created. And up at the upper left-hand corner, right up under the status bar, is a create button. You could actually click on that. And when you click on that button, it actually allows you to create your own surveys. So you could create a multiple choice, you could create a word cloud, you could create Q&A, rank order, clickable image, survey, open-ended, or they have more options. And I will ask here, are you enjoying the chorus? And then we can put our answers here, of which I will put yes and no. And at the very bottom of the page is create. Oh, let me go and show you how you would actually set up a word cloud this way, which you would ask your question in there and you would allow everyone to just put out their different answers here. Here is how Q&A is set up, much like multiple choice. Rank order, where you would put a question in and allow everyone to rate it. Like you could probably say what has been your favorite topic so far, and then what you would allow the students to do is rank each topic in order, first, second, third, fourth. And here you have a map. It's cut off a little bit, but if you wanted to during your first week of the course as an icebreaker, normally your students will tell you where they're from in their introduction post. So if you want to change it up a little bit, what you could do is you could actually ask where was the most interesting place or state you visited, and that would open up conversation for why the student thought that or thinks that it's the most interesting place that they visited. You have one for survey here, open-ended. We're going to go back to multiple choice. I'm going to click on the create button because we don't really need to be spending too much time in here. And over here to the left, so it's generated the link that I'm going to share with my students. As you've seen in the course cafe, the link is now available, not available, but the link is now provided because I have created a poll question. We're going to go over here to the right and we're going to select website and text messaging because remember, you may have a lot of students that are using a tablet or their cell phone. So it's a good idea to offer text messaging and the website option of accessing this survey. Audience restriction. Who can participate? I'm saying everyone can. I'm not restricting it to anyone. And how do you want to identify participants? I'm going to say completely anonymous because it's a conference. But if you want to know which one of your students or who is actually responding, you would click on screen name, and when they go in to answer, they would in fact need to provide their screen name at the time that they answer. And each person may respond up to just one time. And I definitely want to allow them to make changes. And I don't want to auto lock and unlock. I'm going to activate the survey when I'm ready to do that. Therefore, I don't want it to automatically lock or unlock in 5 minutes or 1 hour from now. When I activate it, it will actually be available for my students or whomever wants to take that survey to take it because it will be active. And we will click on, we'll actually go back to poll, excuse me, but at the bottom of the page, we actually have edit, export, and delete. So if you didn't like the question as you stated it, or if you wanted to edit it for whatever reason, you could do that. And then there's a button where you could actually go to next to put your next question in and create it the same way that we have created this question here. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to click on activate. I want to activate this poll to publish it so that everyone can access it. And here is that live link that we can provide our students once we have created a survey. So I'm going to click on activate, and that poll is now activated. And what I'm going to do is go on my tablet and I'm going to answer the question so that you can actually view it as I answer it. Okay, so I'm now accessing it from this poll from my tablet. And of course, I'm going to be biased and click on yes, I am enjoying the course so far. And it will show up automatically shortly. It's a system, so it's going to be a little bit slow probably. And I'm going to refresh it to see if the answer actually in fact comes up. I've selected it on my tablet. There it is. It just took a minute. System probably stalled, but I answered. I'm going to clear the response on my tablet, and then I'm going to answer it again, and there it is immediately. And that's poll everywhere. And now we're going to move to Kahoot. And I'm still exploring Kahoot. However, the more I explore it, the more I realize I really like it. There are already a few surveys, probably related to your chorus, that are already created. So what I would do is when you're considering creating your own Kahoot, go out there and try to view what is already out there. At the very bottom, right under this part here, are topics and they're listed as music, history, technology, movies, and photography. So there may be a few Kahoots that are already created there that pertain to those topics. And just for the sake of just being a little bit nosy, I'm going to click on photography. So here we have a few photography Kahoots already created. One with 5 questions, one with 8 questions. And there's a photography exam there. And if we click on these, of which I'm going to click on the one that has the least questions, then you go in, you can view what questions are there. If you decided that you wanted to use any of the questions and answers from these Kahoots, of which I would probably definitely research them to be sure answers are correct before putting it out there for your students. However, definitely give credit to the individual that has created the Kahoot, and by all means use it in your course instead of recreating your own Kahoot with questions. You could actually even share this actual Kahoot in your course room if you wanted to. And remember, I mentioned earlier that we may want to use Kahoot to actually ease our students' test anxiety. So in addition to actually helping them to better understand the topic that we're discussing or we're studying, you may want to use these Kahoots as a means in which to help them to alleviate test anxiety if possible. So we're going to go to my Kahoot really quickly. And I have already created 2 questions in that Kahoot. So I'm going to click on edit so that you can actually see the 2 questions that I have created. And they're listed here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on edit so that you can see how I can edit the question. But here, after you've gone in and started your survey, once you already make up a question, or say for instance, you've copied over a Kahoot from someone else, you can delete some of the questions out of there. Say you don't want 80 questions, you just want your students to take 20. You could delete questions in there. You could change the time limit on it. You can duplicate the question if you want to, or you can edit it. And I'm going to click on edit. And here we could put pictures in. We can add a video in there if we want our students to watch a video before they answer the question, or do a rank order, or we can add an image. And here is my question right here. It is which app is not shared in the presentation of which I have put my answers here. This is Second Life. This is Poll Everywhere. Under Second Life is Padlet, and under Poll Everywhere is Flat World Knowledge. I will not be discussing Flat World Knowledge, and therefore that would be the correct answer. And what I've done is I've clicked on the correct answer. So whichever answer is correct after you create your survey is the one that you need to put the check mark by. I'm going to unclick that because that is not the correct answer. The correct answer is just under that, which is Flat World Knowledge. So I am going to say close, and I do want to discard those changes that I've made. And right under the second question is add a question. So you could continue to add questions, or you could duplicate questions from another Kahoot that you've created, or another Kahoot that exists out there. So now we're going to exit, and we are going to, below this line here at the bottom is a play icon. And we're going to click on that icon to actually bring up the game pen of which your students or your participants need in order to participate in this survey. I'm going to click on Classic. And in a few minutes, it's going to give me a pen, and then I'm going to copy this pen because I need that. So I'm going to enter that game pin in here. And I'm going to select a name. I'm going to spin to select a name. And Noble, I'm going to accept that name. And now I'm in. And it should do a countdown shortly for me to answer the question. Okay. And remember, we put this question in twice. So the answer is flat world knowledge. No, we don't want to go to that yet. Okay. Got to get ready to play again. Question 2 of 2. And once again, the answer is flat world knowledge. And that's it. Kahoot in a nutshell. I'm going to save results, play again. You can play again, or you can create a new game, of which we are not. We're going to leave that. We're now going to get out of Kahoot, and we're going to go to Padlet. So Padlet is wonderful for actually creating brainstorming walls, or you could actually use it to create a vision board if your students wanted to get creative in some kind of way, maybe in an art class or a photography class if there was one. This would probably even be wonderful for creating a blog, brainstorming a blog. For the sake of time, we're going to select shelf. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create 5 different columns of which we could have discussions on. And I don't like that in that background there. So what we're going to do is we're going to change that. I want a blue background. I think that's pretty. And we're going to title this. We're going to title this Padlet. And remember, you can use this for a brainstorming activity. If you want to, you could provide a progressive outline. We're going to name this Conference Discussion 1 because there is already a conference discussion out there. If you wanted to, you could also have your students to work in groups. Made with charisma. I love the descriptions that they usually post here, so I'm going to keep that one. They have a title of Conference Discussion 1 there, and I've selected my wallpaper, and a theme. We're not going to go with a theme. I'm not going to put one in there. We have Dr. Light, or we have Dark Night there, of which it's showing here. I would prefer for it to show up in gray, where I would actually put the titles of each column in there. Apps is going to be the font style. And I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I guess T would be a better one. We could actually opt for more, but this is going to be the icon that'll be in right next to your title of your wallpaper if you wanted one. Attribution, we definitely want that there, because whenever you or your students make a post, the name is right by the post. And new post position, whenever a new post come in, the individual can choose where they want to put that post. I want it to stay the way that it is, but if you are okay with it not being that way, then by all means you could allow your contributors to actually put their posts different places. But because I'm making columns and I want it to stay orderly, I'm going to select that they're not able to move the columns around. And profanity filter, we definitely want that there, where profanity is replaced with emojis, but hopefully everyone knows not to use profanity. And comments, we can allow the viewers to comment, because that is the whole purpose in our brainstorming activity or using this Padlet. And reactions, we would want them to definitely like posts if they so choose to like them. You also have vote, put a star or grade there. I'm going to choose like. And we're not going to put any tags right now for the sake of time, but however, if we wanted to, we could put conference, we could put Ashford TLC, we could put a conference discussion if we wanted to. And right below address is the address that you would provide. It's a web link that you could actually provide each student to actually access this Padlet so that they could collaborate in it if you so choose. And we're going to go to next. And that is in the upper right hand corner. You are unable to view it because the screenshot is not covering that section of it. We're going to keep this Padlet private. I may make it public once the conference starts. However, if you have the web link to the Padlet, you will be able to access it even without me making it public, because you have the web link. And we're not going to, there are no additional contributors to this. And we're going to go to next. And we want to start posting. And our first column is going to be discussion 1. We're going to save that. And add another column, and we're going to say discussion 2. We're going to add a third column, and we're going to say discussion 3. And we're going to add a fourth column, and we're going to say discussion 4. And we're going to add a fifth column, and we're going to say discussion 5. Okay. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go on my tablet, and I'm actually going to post to this Padlet so that you can see how it would look if you or your students actively collaborated on this Padlet. So I'm going to bring up my Padlet. I'm going to bring up my tablet, excuse me. Okay, conference discussion 1. And what I want to do, so I'm going to type in conformity for discussion 3. As soon as it shows. Actually, I will add for discussion 1 and 2. I'm going to title that conformity. And you should be able to see as I am typing on my tablet. Oh, actually, it doesn't show, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and enter and add that. And I can add a second conformity column. How about if we make 2 conformity columns and 2 gender bias columns? and we leave the last column open. And then I can go and I'll like discussion 2 and discussion 3 simply because it's right there in the middle. And that is Padlet in a nutshell. And actually, if you wanted to, you could go in and edit any of the columns or any of the information. You can rename the column, or you could delete the column. And then when you actually put in your title, you can edit that title if you want to, or delete it. And we could actually go in and we can copy, we can expand the post, we can transfer the post. But I really like this software because it allows for another means of collaboration. And I think doing something different would also allow our students to think critically about concepts or theories that we're also discussing. And we will now move on to Zoom. Okay, so we're going to go in and we're going to schedule a meeting for 4:30 today for our students. I'm going to say schedule. I'm going to click on meetings and I'm going to say start. And once we open the chorus, while we're setting up, we could actually play music, or we could just not have the music playing just so we can set up but have everything already set up. But if not, the music gives you an opportunity to welcome your students in. And it also helps you to ensure that everything is the way that it should be in your Zoom meeting setup. So we have the music here. We're going to go back. I'm going to say share screen. I'm going to share our gender bias information or our lecture. Meetings in progress. We've opened with music. We can now pause. I really like that. And here's our lecture for our Zoom session with our students. Or if you want to record it without the students, you could do that also. Here, Jimmy Kimmel's, we're talking about gender bias, Jimmy Kimmel's YouTube clip and the documentary called Debugging the Gender Gap are two good examples that can be integrated in the social psychology course to discuss gender bias. I really enjoyed Jimmy Kimmel's discussion with a few children regarding the difference between a boy and girl. This reference can even be extended to those that are an unidentified gender. I have provided a snippet of the clip in this presentation. However, if you would like to view the full discussion, I have provided the web link in the reference section. Additionally, the documentary Code Debugging the Gender Gap does a wonderful job of highlighting a solution to decreasing the gender bias in the STEM or STEAM fields. My example of Kimmel's video clip in the documentary are a brief discussion or lecture of how you can integrate engagement within Zoom. The purpose of this related occasional unique experience is to keep your students engaged while discussing concepts or theories. And here is a link to Jimmy Kimmel's discussion with the children. And just below that is Code, the cover of Code, Debugging the Gender Gap. And the references are listed here below. So now we will go and view a brief clip of Jimmy Kimmel's discussion.
Between boys and girls. This is something I've actually been wondering for years. And as you will see here, I have some exceptionally light answers. What's the difference boy and girl? Well, boys do things like doing and stuff. Girls are gentle, yeah. And boys are vicious animals.
And I'm going to stop sharing on Zoom, and we're actually going to end the meeting so that we can prepare for Second Life. And we are now in the welcome area, or what I consider my welcome area in Second Life on the EdTech Island. I absolutely love this island. And if I was ever going to meet with any students, more than likely as an introduction, I would go here first. And then I would welcome them to other areas on this EdTech Island. So let's see. Because I am way beyond my time, I'm going to teleport to the different areas. So we're going to go to the first chorus room. I'm going to teleport there. So off to the left here, far off to the left in the navigation bar, we actually have a teleport icon that we can click on. And once we set up all of the different areas that we have viewed or we like in Second Life, we can actually save those areas and teleport to them directly. So this is the first chorus room, which is a lounge that I really like. And let's see if I can walk in. I'm acting as if I don't. I think my internet system is also a little bit slow, so that's probably going to be a little bit of a problem here. I'm going to take a seat here, and you probably can't see me seated because that screenshot is cut off. However, I am over there. I am right below my name. If other folk were actually in Second Life with you at the same time, or if your students teleported into the area of which you provided them the information to teleport to, that teleport information would be in your status bar, your browser above. You could copy and paste that and provide it to them directly, or if they're in the area, you can actually go. You could find their username there, and you can give them the information of where to teleport directly to where you are, or provide them a link if you wanted to. But this is Chorus Room 1. I really like this. So I'm going to click on Stand so that I can start walking again and give you a view of the room. I really like this room. And this is what I named it. I named it Chorus, but is actually, I should rename it down, just what I'm going to rename it for the sake of time. I think we're really hit towards 1 hour in this presentation. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Classroom 1, show you how that looks, and then go to Classroom 2 and 3. And the brainstorm will be the last room that we go to, just to give you a view. Don't want to keep you too long. And as I stated, I am still a novice at Second Life, but I'm hoping by this time next year I will be a little bit more fluent with it. And let me bring up that chat bar you're able to see. Let me see if I can move it. I cannot move it. Oh, yes, I can. And if you wanted to chat with your students or anyone that was actually in the area at the same time that you were, this is the means by which you would chat with students. You could also use voice if you wanted to. And I believe that Second Life is becoming more feasible for those that may have special needs. Therefore, anyone would be able to participate in Second Life if they wanted to. So this is Chorus Room 1. Let me show you 2. Let's teleport there. I'm going to show you. And the reason why I like this is because I like the sound of the water in this room. So I think it's really nice here. But this is just probably my area, really. Not an area to do anything in, but I like it. So I actually saved it or bookmarked it. Classroom 3 is a smaller room. And just in case if other areas are filled, or if you just want to give a tour of rooms that you like most at Tech Island, it's just another room to use. And our last room that we will visit or teleport to will be the brainstorm or game room. And actually in this room, if you wanted to, they could actually play games in here. You could have discussion. Everyone could just sit around and just do a discussion chat if they wanted to. And I always like to, whenever I come into Second Life, teleport back to my welcome area. Usually if it's anyone that's in Second Life, when I come in, if they're there or if they're in the vicinity, that's where I usually like to greet them, or usually like to have discussion with them if discussion is going to be had. So the system's a little bit slow. I want to log out, but it's taking a minute. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to close it completely. And what we're going to do is go back. In the Course Cafe, if you wanted to add Second Life in, as you have done with your other apps or software, providing a link to your students, a web link where they can access it directly, you could copy and paste the same generic message and then provide the teleport link to your students. Thank you so much for taking the time to view or listen to my presentation. Are you stirring your related occasional unique experiences rule? It is greatly appreciated. And here listed are my references. And I hope you enjoy the 2018 Ashford TLC.